Recession, layoffs at Facebook and Twitter, war, is the boom in tech over, and should you still learn to code in 2023? Hi, Michael here. In this video, I want to give you 5 reasons why I think learning to code in 2023 is still the smartest financial decision you could make. If you are interested in learning more about coding and software engineering, please click subscribe and you will get notified when I put out further videos on the subject. Also, comment in the box below to say I have subscribed and I'll try and get a reply to you as soon as possible. So let's get to the reasons why learning to code in 2023 is still the smartest financial decision you could make. The first thing to say is recessions are a fact of life. There have always been recessions and downturns. There was one during the pandemic just gone. Previous to that, we had a recession in 2008. And when I started working back in the 90s, we were just coming out of a recession. And I remember writing out lots of job applications after I graduated and getting tons of rejections. And yet coding or technology has provided me with a good source of income for more than 25 years. It's worth bearing in mind there have been recessions all the way back to the tulip bubble in the 17th century. Personally, I think working in technology gives you a bit of protection from downturns and recession, and I will cover that in a later point. My point now is that a downturn in the economy should not affect your decision to learn to code. The second reason I think it's still a good idea to learn to code is that successful people think long-term. I would define long-term as more than 10 years. The question you have to ask yourself is whether learning to code will be a useful skill in 10 to 20 years' time. And if you look back over the last 20 years where there has been a technological revolution with mobile apps running on devices like smartphones, which were hardly a thing back 20 years ago, but now are a part of our daily lives, you have to conclude that yes, coding is a useful skill and it will continue to be a useful skill in 10 or 20 years' time. My next point is the economy will turn around, and one of the best ways to prepare for that turnaround will be by learning to code. Why? Because technology is the way forward. It always has been. Many household companies were started during recessions, from Microsoft to Disney. Google and Facebook were started close to recessions. Maybe by learning to code you will start or work for one of the future tech giants. My next reason for learning to code is that Facebook, Apple, Amazon, they're great companies, but they are not the only companies in tech. There are many companies of different sizes out there, plus non-tech companies who use technology and have technology departments where people are employed in tech. Major tech giant sacks half its workforce is newsworthy, but local software company takes on 10 devs, maybe not newsworthy. However, for you as someone who maybe lives in an area in the local area, that might be very relevant and that might be your break. So don't let news headlines put you off learning to code. My final reason for saying that learning to code is still probably the best financial decision you could make is that understanding technology is going to be really relevant for many careers. And there are many technology careers where coding is not required but is useful. On the opposite side of the argument, there are very few careers that are not going to be impacted by technology in the future. Even medicine and law are being affected by artificial intelligence, and learning to code gives you a fundamental understanding of how computers work, and based on what I'm saying, computers are the future in many careers. So therefore, I think that learning to code is really more of a life skill. And just as you wouldn't say, because of a recession, I'm not going to learn to read, or I'm not going to learn mathematics, you shouldn't say, because of a downturn, I'm not going to learn to code. In my experience of over 25 years in software engineering, Sometimes when companies are trying to save money, they will cut other areas but will still spend on IT and technology to enable productivity gains. So in a way we're, as software engineers, slightly protected from the effects of downturns and recessions. So for me, learning to code has given me financial security, has enabled me to work on interesting projects with some really nice people across a wide range of industries, from manufacturing to finance to local government and now pharmaceuticals. It's also allowed me to travel as much as I want and do some interesting hobbies like learning to fly helicopters. Therefore, I would thoroughly recommend it. Whether there's going to be a recession next year or not, in the long term, 10 to 20 years, technology has a great future, and I believe there will always be good careers within it. See you on the next video.